You were invited by Savile to go to something outside of the school.
I think it was about March time, because I've actually got a letter from my social worker saying he'd seen me on the TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sitting on a beanbag.
What show was that?
Clunk Click.
Clunk Click. So what was Clunk Click, just to explain for people not familiar?
It was about getting people to wear seatbelts, basically.
Okay, Duncroft.
I was 15 the month before. I arrived there on November the 24th, 1974.
For people who are not familiar with Duncroft, how would you define it?
Well, it was defined to me as an approved school, which basically means there's blocks on the windows, so you can't get out the windows. The doors are locked at night, so it's sort of like a prison, I suppose.
And what about when you went to sleep? Did you have your own room, or was it like dormitories?
I shared a room with 2 other girls at the time.
And did you get along with them?
Yeah, I had a couple of girls that I got along with more than the others. We were similar.
That's what I was thinking, that perhaps they'd had similar backgrounds, and for the first time you were able to relate.
We never spoke about it.
You never spoke, okay.
No.
But was it understood that you've been through things?
I think it's just you can sense, can't you, from somebody. Mm-hmm. I've never spoke about anything until Operation New Treat come along.
Yeah.
I never told nobody, nothing. I might have snippets here and there, maybe if I was drunk, but that was it.
So would you say you were happy then at Duncroft in the beginning with these girls that you got along with?
I was never happy.
Never happy.
Sorry.
But on the scale of everything you've been through, would you say it was a relatively, in the beginning of Duncroft, would you say it was an improvement perhaps from previous?
Not from the home I was in for 4.5 years, no.
Okay.
That felt like a family, because there was only 6 of us.
And you're uprooted from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anywhere I went after that, I just wanted out of it all.
Yeah.
I kept running away and...
At Duncroft, what was the day-to-day activity?
Well, I went back to school because I'd missed quite a lot of school, and I started doing O-levels, as they were called then. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, the O-levels I was doing was English and I can't remember what it's called, sewing. Can't remember what it's called.
So there was English literature, wasn't there? There was English language.
Yeah, no. I was doing 2 others as well. One was like I was doing sewing and doing cooking.
Home economics.
That's it.
Yeah, I remember. See, I did O levels
That's
too.
The one. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You don't look old enough.
Thank you.
But yeah, I started to do O levels there, and it was really good because it was back to routine and things. Yeah.
And how old are you at this point of the story?
15.
15.
Yeah.
How many years were you at Duncraft?
No, I was only there from November 74 or 70. No, hold on. Where are we? Forgotten. I was only there from the November. Oops, sorry. The November until I think it was the May was the last time.
Okay. And how did Savile make an appearance there?
Very flamboyantly.
Was he?
Oh my God. Yeah, when we found out what was happening.
Yep.
Because you know how we got to be going there, don't you?
I don't know. Could you explain to the viewers? We've got a lot of viewers and some in America as well, and they're not that familiar with the story.
Apparently, he was friends with one of the girls at Duncroft's mum and dad. I think her name was Susan. Don't quote me, I'm not sure.
Okay.
So when they've gone to Miss Jones, who run Duncroft, and said about him coming to Duncroft, like, yeah, she trusted their judgment, I suppose.
Yeah. So that's how he came in. And then the first time you heard of him, was it announced that he was coming in advance? Or
Yeah.
And what kind of did it create a buzz because this guy's a celebrity, top of the pops, that kind of thing?
Oh God, I feel really bad for this. Yeah. We all wanted to be part of part of him being there, near him, like whatever, talking to him and things. Yeah, we all wanted that. I can remember us all running up to the big, because it was a big old stately home building thing, running up to the door and opening the door as he's pulled up. Do you know what I mean? And we're all been at a concert or something. Do you know? But not all of them. Not all of them used to do that. Do you know, I was thinking the other night, Shaun, how he targeted the girls who didn't have parents at the home.
Exactly.
It only just penny dropped the other night. All the ones that had their parents around them, they didn't go to Clunk Click. They didn't get abused.
He was evil and very calculating. All right, so that first day, then there's a buzz that this celebrity's coming to Duncroft. And what was your first visual of him?
Jewelry,
yeah.
shell suit, like, just wow. Couldn't believe he was there.
Didn't he used to show up in his white Rolls Royce and stuff?
Oh, he had a few different coloured Rolls Royces, but yeah, one of them was white. I think one of them was yellow, was it? I think, yeah.
And then what was his role like? Did he give a speech? Did he do some kind of...
No, he'd bring somebody with him a lot of the time. Well, first of all, he'd bring cigarettes, records, like 45s. I can't remember what else. Cigarettes, records, and sweets and whatever. And we only used to get either 10, 20 or 30 cigarettes a week, all depending which group you was in there. So to have that
was currency.
Oh God. Yeah, it was wonderful. And yeah, he knew that.
So how did he distribute those things that he brought in? What kind of like, how did he say, you're going to get this, you're going to get that? Did everyone just get called to a room and here's this?
I can't actually remember.
Yeah.
I can remember it being on a table. I don't know if it was us or him, or I don't think he did it. I think he just we all got like what we wanted. Well,
can you remember him addressing the girls at Duncroft, giving us, talking to them, saying stuff, anything like that?
Am I allowed to say names? And if you got to cut them out,
yeah, go for it. We'll
I can remember one time in the big lounge bit, because it was huge, because there was quite a lot of us there. Can't remember how many, but I know there was quite a lot of us. And he brought Freddie Starr with him. And they both sat in, one was there in one chair, and one was there in another chair. Quite high back chairs, I can remember them. And us girls were all in front, all around, like sitting there listening, and they just used to, well, they swapped rings. They both had a ring on their little finger, and they swapped them over and said, that's it, we're friends now. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's the sort of thing. He was a show off. Yeah, he was a show off. And all the noises and...
Was that a regular thing that he brought other celebrities with him? Was Gary Glitter one of those?
No, he was at the Clunk Click show that some of the girls went to, but he didn't actually come to the home. Or if he did, because sometimes I did go away at the weekends back to my grandmother's. I don't know why I went back to my grandmother's, but I did, just to get out of there, I suppose. But no, I don't remember him coming to...
Are there other celebrities that you do remember coming to Duncroft?
Yeah, Sparks.
Sparks.
Yeah, the weirdy ones. I can remember them coming. I can't remember who else. Sorry.
Rolf Harris?
No.
Who else would Savile have been with back then, James? What celebrities was he? Top of the Pops type people, yeah. There was some Tony Blackburn.
It's funny you should say this. I don't know if you're going to be able to leave this on there.
Okay.
My friend of 16 years, my male friend of 16 years, I've always said to him that there's something about Tony Blackburn. I don't know what it is, and nothing had ever been done. And then I watched your podcast, and I was like, I said to him yesterday when he come round, I said, see? I said, I told you, and I can't figure out why. The only thing I can think of, because we used to go to the BBC as well, to the Clunk Click shows at the BBC, and I'm thinking maybe he was there in the changing rooms afterwards. I don't know, but I've always had this funny, not right feeling about him.
Right, let's get to that because, I do talks in schools and they give you a sheet of all of the guidelines, the things you must adhere to. If a kid comes up to you and talks to you, you can't be talking to kids, giving them personal details. There's got to be a teacher present. How does this go from Savile just waltzing into this, into Duncroft, and now suddenly he's getting girls out of the school, taking them places? Well, I know that couldn't happen in this day and age, but was there just no, internal rules that prohibited that kind of thing?
No. The staff used to take us to the BBC. They'd just drop us off there.
So the Duncroft staff would drop you off at the BBC?
Yes.
Okay.
And then come back and get you later.
Okay.
And they weren't around in the evenings because we used to do tattoos and all sorts. We did. So they just weren't around.
So what was the first time you were invited by Savile to go to something outside of the school?
I think it was about March time because I've actually got a letter from my social worker saying he'd seen me on the TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sitting on a beanbag.
What show was that?
Clunk Click.
Clunk Click. So what was Clunk Click, just to explain for people not familiar?
It was about getting people to wear seatbelts, basically.
Okay.
Because that was before you had to wear a seatbelt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to show people that hadn't worn a seatbelt and things to go to the shops and that. But that's what it sort of started as. And then it ended up, we were going on the stage and met the Hollies and Lindsay DePaul and the Wombles. And
The Wombles.
Yeah, they stank, by the way. Them furry suits in all them lights.
Oh.
So did Gary Glitter, though, apparently, according to the girls from the previous week. He smelt a B.O.
Oh.
Sorry. Oh, dear.
What was the first you ever heard that Savile was, about his behaviour? Were there any rumours of his behaviour that had circulated Duncroft about him being abusive?
We used to brag to each other. We used to brag about who'd got him to do the most.
Yeah, but you were minors, and anything of that nature is 100% his accountable for, because there's a duty of custody, isn't there, over minors, in which he took advantage of.
You know he used to stay the night?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So he stayed the night?
He used to stay nights.
Oh, my goodness.
Because I've still got this vision of him, because I was at one end of Duncroft, because there's back stairs, main stairs, back stairs, and I've got this vision of him coming down the back stairs. I'd come from my end in his little like vest thing and his shell suit bottoms. He used to stay the night.
He had his own room, did he?
There used to be a guesty bit. I know, it's making me shake. Who lets a 42-year-old man stay in a home with 14, 15 and 16-year-old girls?
So the sleeping quarters that you guys were in at night versus where Savile was in at night, I'm taking he had access, did he? Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you see people leaving your quarters to go to his room?
No. But I found out that one of the girls, Diane her name was, she'd gone to him because, as I said, we used to brag.
So she came back, and did she, give some details as to what had happened?
Well, she said she'd had full sex with him.
Wow.
Yeah, and nobody else had done that. So she was like, oh, I feel sick.
Was he using the cigarettes and the sweets and whatever else he brought, perfume?
Records and...
to reward girls who came to his room at night, that kind of thing?
I don't know. Probably.
Did you ever hear of any staff members joking about his behaviour or being aware of his behaviour?
No, they thought it was wonderful. This celebrity. Same as the woman that ran the place. They thought it was wonderful. He was doing all what he was doing.
Because he utilised his charity as a shield, didn't he? And his good deeds as a shield to get into these situations, to get access. Okay, then, so when you're getting taken to Clunk Click, are things happening at these shows as well in the changing rooms, etc.?
Yeah, afterwards.
Yeah. And how would he select girls to go back into his changing rooms?
Well, no, there'd only be a few of us that had gone from Duncroft, so yeah. I know I did, and I know the other girls did as well.
So it's like he pre-selected girls to take to the shows that he felt he could get back into the changing rooms. Yeah, okay. And, I don't want to make you relive any of this stuff, but are you able to say, just talking in general terms, the extent of what happened in the changing rooms?
Alcohol. Touching, inappropriate touching, yeah.
Okay, and how often did you, for example, get invited to the shows?
I think I went 3 times, and then I can remember not being picked one week. And I was very upset. And I think that was when I ran away and never went back.
Really?
Yeah, March. So 70.
What was going through your head the day you ran away?
I wasn't wanted. Again. I was wanted and then I wasn't wanted, so to speak, like everything else.
I hope you're enjoying the podcast. I've got some exciting news to announce. Michael Francis is coming back to tour the UK in 2024. The Remade Man Tour, the Michael Francis story. Michael Francis, once named one of the 50 most significant mob bosses in the USA by Fortune magazine, and a former member of the notorious Colombo crime family, will take you deep into the world of organised crime, sharing captivating tales and insights into the mafia's past, present and future. Join us for an unforgettable evening with Michael Franzese, the original Goodfella, as he exclusively sits down with myself, Shaun Attwood. With me as the host, there's going to be a no-holes-barred exploration of Michael Franzese's life, including his numerous arrests and jury trials that ultimately led to his pleading guilty to a federal racketeering charge, a 10-year prison sentence, and $15 million in restitution. You will have the unique opportunity to ask questions during an audience Q&A session, making this event a must-see for true crime enthusiasts and anyone curious about the underworld. Don't miss this explosive in-conversation with Michael Franzese. Live on stage in the UK, this exclusive in-person event will be held in various locations in the UK, Ireland and Scotland. Link in the description box below this video if you want to grab yourself a ticket. Back to the podcast. Cheers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome, isn't it?
Stockholm.
Where people who are kidnapped, sometimes they start to adulate the kidnappers. Because you were so young in this situation, you were a minor, celebrity is, coming to the school and manipulating all the girls. So I can understand the psychological process of feeling rejected at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you plan to go anywhere specific, or?
I was hitchhiking all over the country.
Oh, you hitchhiked?
I did.
Okay, and how old are you at this point then?
15.
Only 15, oh my God.
Still 15. I was, a couple of times I ran away with a couple of the girls. Terry was one of them and Jill was another one. But this time I went on my own. And I just used to go where the lorry was going.
Yeah.
And one time I ended up in Belgium.
Oh my goodness.
Because you didn't need a passport in those days.
Yeah.
You did need a passport to get back in, though.
And were you still self-medicating with alcohol or any other substances at this point?
I was self-harming then. I don't know. I'd started self-harming. I can't remember what age. Yeah. And from the self-harm, that went on to anorexia. I was bulimic for years as well.